All right, folks, in this video, we're going to be discussing my red oak growth charts. Just like all my growth charts, they start 9 inches off the floor. If you're wondering why, obviously you have baseboard trim in your house and you couldn't, if you ran this all the way to the floor, it would have to go over your trim or you'd have to cut the trim out of your house to make a spot for it and that would look really weird. So 9 inches off the floor, they go up to 6'7". And yes, we do occasionally have a very tall family. And yes, we can make a taller version. The charts themselves are 72 inches or 6 feet long and 5.5 inches wide. So as I said, these are the red oak. When it comes to wood colors on all our growth charts, we do not stain anything. We do not manipulate it. We do not tint our lacquer or do anything to change the natural color of the wood. What you see is what you get. So it tends to be pretty even. There's no sapwood on any of these. So the sapwood on red oak is pretty pronounced, just like say cherry or walnut. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. It's really white and doesn't really mesh, unlike say ash or maple. So you're not going to get any sapwood. The color tends to be pretty even. Once in a while, like this one here, you'll see one that's a little bit darker. And I know it's probably hard to tell. I have extremely bright lights in my wood shop so that I can see any little defect or scratch in a project. So it can be, it might look a little washed out in here, but trust me, if you look at this in normal sunlight or whatever, it's going to be a little bit darker. Same thing here. You'll see some of these darker streaks and stuff in there, but for the most part, oak, or at least red oak here, tends to be pretty even. In terms of the grain, so if you look at the grain here, you see how it's like running vertical on these. That is called quarter sawn. It has to do with the orientation of the board within relation to the growth rings on the log. It doesn't change the quality or anything. It just has to do with, again, how I cut it on the sawmill. So with oak, you can actually get some of those quarter sawn rays that come through whenever you have quarter sawn. It can be kind of hard to tell in here versus say the flat sawn here. Again, if you look at the orientation of the grain, and again, these are just differences in them. This isn't a quality difference one way or the other. This is just me showing, hey, if you order a red oak growth chart, this might be what you're going to get. Okay. Something that I haven't shown in my other videos as of yet is this is a personalized one here. So if you go the personalized route, I could put up to 5 names on each one. If you've heard me at the market, that's what I'm saying again. I can put up to 5 names on each growth chart. I always start between the 5 and the 4. I come down from there. Or I can do first, middle, last name. I can do, there's a million different variations on how I can do these. I am going to make a video just on personalization at some point in the future. But this kind of gives you a neat example of what it looks like in comparison to the plain ones. But yeah, these are the red oak growth charts. As I've said in all my other videos, these are engraved on. These are not painted on. These are not like the cheap ones you find on like Etsy or some of the other crafty websites. This is a high quality lacquer finish that's designed to last forever. This is essentially going to be a living scrapbook that sits on the wall, and you're not going to throw this out in 10, 20, 30 years. This is going to be something you hang on to forever. So we want it to last. I have sold hundreds of these. I'm pretty sure I've shipped to almost all 50 states at this point. And I have tons of happy customers everywhere. So if you want the same high quality growth chart, one that's going to last forever, one that's going to look great 20, 30, 40 years from now and hold all your children's memories, then by all means, head to our website, www.logboy.com, and go ahead and order.